Have you ever wondered if there is a secret pill or a drink that could immediately enlighten you? This is Elias Rubenstein, author of spiritual books. 2 decades ago, I founded the Hermetic Academy after being entrusted with the most powerful European initiatory paths with ancient roots to make this knowledge available in the modern world. Today, we are going to reveal if there is a red pill, like in the Hollywood movie The Matrix, that will awaken you to reality. There are tons of so-called do-it-yourself gurus today who give spiritual advice, such as taking ketamine, MDMA, also called ecstasy, or LSD as a shortcut to spiritual enlightenment. But how serious is this? All of these so-called enlightened advisors have not experienced any real spiritual development themselves. They have never trained on an authentic spiritual path under the supervision or guidance of genuinely enlightened teachers. The only experience they could be proud of is changing one perception of illusion to the next level of illusion without having any superpowers or deeper connection to the super consciousness. It is changing one aspect of the painful ego to the next level of the illusionary ego, a tricky illusion of spiritual advancement. Other self-proclaimed enlightened influencers go deeper and talk about psilocybin, also known as magic mushrooms or ayahuasca. These shamanic substances are often viewed by such people as a shortcut to enlightenment. But in reality, these are a dead end of spirituality. It is true that Inca priests, centuries ago, used stimulants as tools in addition to their rites, prayers, and offerings, but not as a substitute or shortcut. Even in ancient Egypt, certain stimulants were known and used in specific rites, but this was only a fraction of religious retreats. Such substances were merely a small and insignificant aspect of ancient Egyptian rites. No one who had not been previously prepared internally and externally was allowed to consume these substances, which were reserved for the priests and their rituals. These rites utilized mantras, prayers, and invocations to build a bridge to the world of the gods and to carry out the will of the gods. These substances were also not reserved for peasants and the uneducated, but for the priestly caste with the highest education and spiritual training. There is a great danger that immature people will merely take dreams for reality or imagine that they are the great awakened ones. If someone has not realized a body in which permanent access to the stages of enlightenment is possible, these substances would cause more illusion than spiritual development. Anyone who abused sacred tools or sacred substances reserved only for priests at that time was liable to the death penalty. These drugs do not grant supersensitive powers, do not change behavior patterns, and do not increase intelligence. There is also a great risk that these substances destroy the very necessary neural pathways and areas in the brain and other organs essential for real and permanent enlightenment. It's similar to tobacco, which was once used by Native Americans for ceremonial purposes. Once it was taken away from these ceremonies and consumed by profane people, the only result was addiction without any benefit. Pseudo-enlightened people who use these psychedelic substances often speak the same nonsense as before, without any change in their insight into reality. Their advice is unnecessary and causes more harm than good. They believe they have experienced enlightenment, but in reality, they are modern junkies who use spirituality as an excuse for their addiction. Today, addicted junkies imagine that they are enlightened but have no way of gaining permanent access to enlightenment, bliss, unity, love, or wisdom without their illusionary drugs. Authentic Western mystery schools, which are in direct lineage of the ancient Egyptian tradition, do not use these substances. Although they preserve the knowledge of these substances, the spiritual path has changed. Spiritual aspirants are no longer in a protected field and caste like the serving priests in ancient Egypt. They live within families, have professions, and maintain social contacts. Spiritual development techniques and initiations have evolved and are often more powerful than in ancient times. Genuine spiritual development requires dedication, discipline, time, and proper guidance. It is not a do-it-yourself path because only the ego prefers to pretend it can pull itself out of the quagmire to survive longer. The path is simple but not easy. Proper meditation is also something most people do not know how to use. It is not about closing the eyes and perceiving the breath or something like that. Meditation under guidance is an elevator to the higher levels of consciousness if you have the correct techniques, such as those taught by an authentic Eastern guru or Western mystery school. Another essential aspect includes rituals and initiations. These are not something you can learn from books because these tools will only have any effect under the patronage of enlightened individuals who can connect the aspirant to the divine light of enlightenment through rituals and initiation. The same applies to mantras and symbols. Only those connected with living enlightened teachers can elevate the consciousness of the aspirant. If not connected to living teachers, it is like computer code without the power to activate. There are no shortcuts on this path. Drugs can produce short-term experiences that may seem like spiritual experiences, but they do not lead to lasting growth or true understanding. Is there a red pill? Yes, it is initiation. Authentic initiation requires you to be prepared, demonstrating dedication and commitment, and it is the initiator who decides when you are ready. It is a transmission of higher consciousness that reprograms the lower soul and connects it with the higher soul, making enlightenment and the perception of reality permanently available. Let us know about your experiences in the comments. If you are interested in this tradition, watch our other YouTube videos or visit our website.